While eating roasted corn, the man suddenly discovered a business opportunity. He saw his son almost crying from the spiciness of the sauce on the corn. But despite that, he continued eating with great relish. This gave him the idea to make spicy potato chips. So the family bought a large amount of hot sauce and started experimenting endlessly. As they tirelessly made the hot sauce by hand, many factories began adopting technology. But Richard believed that the best flavor came from using the raw ingredients paired with Mexican-style hot sauce to mix the seasoning flavors perfectly. Richard's family traveled everywhere, tasting all kinds of peppers, and finally created a taste that was both spicy and delicious.
Ow, burn!
Burns good or burns bad?
It burned good.
Oh!
Although the hot sauce experiment was a success, the higher-ups wouldn't take the suggestion of a janitor seriously. So Richard decided to find the company's phone number and called the president, who was in Italy. After Richard's persistent explanation, he finally managed to persuade him. Richard and his wife sent a large batch of samples to Roger. When Roger tasted the first spicy Cheetos, he couldn't stop eating them. He quickly called Richard back, saying he would visit the US to inspect the factory. However, the executives at the factory were angrily searching for the person who had stirred up the president. When the boss found out it was Richard, he scolded him in front of the entire company. If Roger didn't accept Richard's proposal, it would mean the factory's closure, and all the employees would lose their jobs. Richard started to doubt himself. Feeling down, he went home. His wife Judy learned about it, but still encouraged him. She believed he could succeed. Then the couple went through books to learn the right speech. On the day of Roger's visit, Richard dressed in a proper suit. When Roger's car stopped in front of the factory, the wheels of fate started turning. Richard's destiny was about to be rewritten. In a hurry, Roger called Richard into the meeting room as soon as he arrived at the factory. Richard raised his spicy Cheetos and talked about how delicious they were. But when the executives asked about the expected market share, Richard didn't even know what that term meant, so he gestured the length of the store shelves. This made the executives almost laugh. Roger stood up and mimicked his arm gesture. Ignoring the factory manager's objections, he decided to invest in the proposal. However, after the spicy Cheetos went into production, they didn't get a strong reaction. Instead, they became a slow-moving product on the store shelves. The factory manager decided to stop production of this flavor, and Richard became so discouraged that he started doubting his life. But Blake thought he was underestimating himself.
Embarrassment's never stopped you before? Ask questions. You wore my ass out with them. Look here, the person I met 10 years ago wouldn't blink. He'd find a way, any way to get it done. I don't want to look you up in 20 years from now just to find out you're still down here on the bottom. Step up.
That night, Richard couldn't sleep. After chatting with his family, he realized the factory hadn't even advertised the spicy Cheetos. Seeing Richard so worried, his eldest son took all of his saved pocket money and gave it to Richard to help fund an advertisement. Richard suddenly had an epiphany. He found his old friends and hired them to do guerrilla marketing. So Richard decided to load all the spicy Cheetos from the factory's stock onto trucks and had his friends use clever language to promote them. Then they started giving them out for free on the streets and alleys. Richard's family went directly to the supermarket and bought up all the spicy Cheetos on the shelves. When other customers curiously looked over, Richard seized the opportunity to recommend the delicious snack. The customers were